Right, the Home Office is calling for police, fire and ambulance services to share control rooms to improve their response to 999 calls. Proposals requiring the emergency services to work together will be published later this morning. Expected, they'll also include plans to give police and crime commissioners in England overall responsibility for their local fire brigade. It could mean fire chiefs with no experience of fighting crime will be given the opportunity to run police forces. It's been called a dangerous move by the Fire Brigades Union. The Home Office Minister, Mike Penning, says it would be better if one operator handled all the calls from one control room.
Well, we consulted, and it's not just to do with the fire service, as to how we could bring the emergency services to bear on better collaboration. And so what we're going to go ahead with is actually asking the backroom systems within the emergency services, the fire, police and the ambulance, to work closer together. Some parts of the country they're already doing that, and frankly in other parts of the country they're lagging behind. We can't afford that lagging behind because that will cost lives. So we're going to push ahead, we can have more responsibility for the PCCs and have the emergency services that I served in work much closer together.
Well, let's talk about this now with Matthew Ellis, who's the Police and Crime Commissioner for Staffordshire, John McGhee from the Fire Brigades Union, and Will Ritchie, Vice Chair of the Police Federation for England and Wales. Welcome, all of you. Why is this a good idea, Matthew Ellis? You're a Police and Crime Commissioner.
I think the similarities between the two services are distinct. I think that DNA of both the fire and the police services is about protecting people, about preventing harm. You look at this in a common sense way. You can move more money to frontline services by sharing the same functions that are currently in different places. And actually, from an operational point of view, it makes enormous sense to work much, much closer together.
What are the issues, John McGhee?
Well, there's a whole number of issues. I mean, first off, there's no objections to making savings in the public purse, but there are huge distinctions between police and fire. I mean, fire has a brand that people in the fire service are actually invited into people's homes, where we can give fire safety advice. We have a completely different relationship built up of years of trust. And
I don't know how that would change by having one control operator in one control room.
Well, the question's not about the control. I mean, first off, control...
So that you're all right with that?
No, whether we share a building is irrelevant. It's happening already across the country.
Yeah.
There's several different models
and
where
good practice.
Of course there's good practice. But fire control operators don't just take a call and dispatch a fire engine. They give safety advice that's tailored for the fire and rescue service. Likewise, for the police operators, they give a different kind of advice to the callers that are looking for a police officer.
The operator could be trained to do both.
Well, look, at the moment, the fire service, we've embarked on a whole number of trials for working with the ambulance services across the whole of the UK. Where we've got about 20 trials running at the moment, where fire services are responding to calls that would otherwise have been taken by the ambulance service. Now, that's not a lack of response or control operators in the ambulance control room. It's a lack of ambulances. There are not enough resources. So this whole question that we need to put everybody in the same control room doesn't deal with the fact that we've lost 7,000 firefighters in the last 5 years.
Tell me why one operator in one control room in one building means that a fire engine / ambulance will get to where it needs to go any quicker.
Well, to be clear, I'm not looking at ambulances. I think that ambulances is probably too difficult at the moment, but police vehicles and fire... And let's not get sort of caught up on control rooms. This is about the whole...
But tell me why it would mean a fire engine would get there quicker.
Well, I think communication between the two services, if they're in the same place, can be better. At the moment, you get police and fire turning up to 47% of incidents where only one is needed. It's about bringing these organisations together as far as cooperation is concerned, but not losing in any way, sense or form the identity of fire and the identity of police.
So are we saying in these times of modern technology that the simplest thing is to get everyone in the same room together? I mean, clearly, it's all collaborating is a good thing, and striving for greater efficiency is a good thing, because we all want to protect the public service. I mean, talking about your point, well, why don't we include ambulances as well then? If it's, if that's something that's completely ridiculous, well, why is it not completely ridiculous to correlate the two fire and police together? Because I take the point.
Well, I don't think I said it was completely ridiculous. I come from a background where we do things cautiously, so let's try it with police and fire. Let's actually not do it in a way which is going to upset things. The simplicity of this, to be honest, a child could look at the similarities of having 2 finance departments and 2 legal departments and 2 comms departments and say, why don't we bring them into one, and let's put more money to support frontline firefighters and more money to support frontline police officers.
This isn't about a paper exercise and saving money. This is about public safety. This is about making sure that people, when they dial 999, know they're going to get somebody on the end of the phone who knows how to make that assessment as to whether or not a firefighter needs to be dispatched or a police officer, or whether or not this is a call that requires an immediate response
John
or
McGhee
not.
from Fire Brigades Union.
You know, there's a number of issues being raised there. You know, the introduction of the police and crime commissioners, I think about 40% of those spent more than the police authorities that they replaced. So in terms of efficiency, they haven't provided the efficiency that they were set out to do. So, you know, like my colleague here from the Police Federation, of course we want to find efficiencies. We're working in collaboration. We work with the police service, we work with the ambulance service, and we're constantly looking at ways of saving money and working there.
Sorry, but while we've got time, I just want to ask about the other issue, which is somebody like yourself, Police and Crime Commissioner for Staffordshire, also taking on responsibility for the fire service in your area. Yes or no? Thumbs up to that or thumbs down?
Yeah, I think it's a reasonable sort of idea about it's put more money back to the frontline services.
And would you expect an increase in your salary, which is 75k at the moment?
It's not about my salary. This is about serving the public. This is about making sure that we put more money towards frontline fire services, more money towards frontline police services.
What's your experience of frontline fire services? Why would you be okay
about the same as it was with frontline police services, which is nothing. And yet in Staffordshire, we're not cutting officers. I've created efficiencies which have put much more money towards the front line. I've got rid of the waste. We can do the same, but we can do it together.
He says he's got a decent record when it comes to the police.
Well, we should look over all that. This is about the whole country. This isn't just about a good example in one area and a bad example in another.
No, but if it can be done well in one area, it can be done in other areas.
But that's the point of having proper consultation, looking at it and evidence and what he's doing, because the issue here is about legislating change. Well, actually, there's collaborations happening already. People are working together, and that can be developed, and we want to increase efficiency and deliver a better service to the public across the piece.
This doesn't necessarily bring a better service to the public. You know, the police and crime commissioners, you know, the accountability to local authorities is taken away. You know, I think Matthew was elected by something like an 11% turnout in his own area. You know, that doesn't reflect what the public are looking for. The public want to know that when they get on a phone and they need either an ambulance, they get an ambulance. If they need a police officer, they want a police officer.
I don't understand why they won't.
But we're getting lost in the argument here about providing proper public services. This is about cuts. That's what this is. This is what these proposals are about. Now, Matthew said he's protected frontline services because he's put off officers who are not physically no longer capable of being out there, have been taken out from jobs that they've been put in the back room and put back onto the beat. Now, that's the exact same thing as the fire service. We've increased the pension age. People are going to have to work longer. There are no backroom jobs for them, and firefighters have been told, OK, you'll still be climbing the ladders at age 60.
This entrenchment is just bizarre. We need our public services to work better together. It can happen in an integrated way. We can save money from the back end and put it through to the front line. I can't believe that neither of my two colleagues
disagreeing with that. This is about the governance. This is about the governance of both police and fire. We're going to have a situation where the police commissioners can take over the fire service.
It's not about
This is not going to be about improving the service.
I have to say, I disagree fundamentally that we're entrenched, because we adapt and evolve all the time. This is about emergency services.